I know you mentioned if I'm an Englishman, but had my tea with milk just now. I'm still drinking it. I got to get my morning started with with my tea with milk. And it's funny. I was telling you I don't drink coffee, but actually tea has caffeine.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it has caffeine. So
But
that's just
they say it's very good for you though, better than coffee. I don't
right.
drink much. If you don't, some people drink coffee all day long.
Mhm.
Sometimes I just drink one cup.
That's pretty
Depends
much
how
yep.
much my wife drinks.
Right. Oh man. So let me ask you something. I I'm gonna get straight to it. What's your thoughts about UFOs?
Uh, I think they do exist. I
Yeah,
had an encounter,
really?
but I don't know what it was. Uh, this was, oh my God, that would have been. I was in. I was wrestling in North Bay, Ontario, Canada. We did that for 5 years. I think I told you about that. We'd go up north. Larry
Right.
Kazaboski was a promoter up in North Bay, Ontario. That's 200 miles north of Toronto. And we went up there 5 summers. He would open up the territory the 1st of May and he'd close it uh, the last day of October because he couldn't get the arenas with hockey. Hockey, it was taken. You couldn't rent the arenas you know to have wrestling, and there was
Right.
no other big building. Those towns, people up in Canada are crazy, but hockey. Companies have hockey teams. They play. Those buildings are rented all the time. I mean, big buildings, big. You know, and I was up there, and I was coming back from Sault Ste. Marie back to North Bay, and I had this old English. Can't remember his name. He was the referee. It was just him and I in the car, and of course, where we were, there's no population, nothing but woods, forests, and the roads, 2-lane roads, and just some of them were bad. Some anyway, we're coming back, and it's probably 11, maybe midnight or after midnight a little bit,
Hmm.
and I'm driving, and I wasn't sleepy, I wasn't dreaming, I was. So I'm driving, and then all of a sudden, right over the treetops in front of us, probably a half a mile, three tops. I mean, we thought it was crashing in the trees. All these lights, different. I mean, just flashing and different colors, and then it went right over just as we got there, right in front of us, right over the highway, and it was nothing but trees again. And I mean, it was probably 200 feet,
What
and
the
it was gone. Didn't
wow.
last long. We just saw. Shoop. I told you what his name was, and he was an English guy, by the way. And I said, "Did you see that?" Oh, his name was Jack. Jack Wentworth, the referee, ex wrestler. I said, "Jack, did you see that?" He says, "Yes, mate." He says, "I thought I was dreaming." I said, "What the hell was it?" He says, "I couldn't tell." He says, "All these lights flashing, and he said, I thought it was going to crash, but it went right on by." Well, anybody with an airplane wouldn't fly that low at night.
Right.
It might have been 200 feet, 300 feet. Anyway, we kept talking about it. I mean, it don't make no sense, you know. But we didn't see no shape. I didn't see a shape. I just lights. Well, when I got home, I thought about something. I said, I'm going to research, see if there's an airport, around where we were. 'Cause I knew about where we were. There was a little town further, maybe 10 minutes later, we went through this little town. And I said, huh, I'm going to find out if there's an airport. Well, I looked and tried to find out if there was any airport around. There had no airports for miles and miles. The nearest airport would have been Sudbury, which was about 80 miles away. That's all I can say. I don't know what it was. And I said, but there was something.
Wow. That's
There was something.
wow.
And it was not real fast, but steady. Just
Right.
probably 4 or 5 seconds.
Okay.
So and it's impossible to be flying at night at that altitude. I mean, you'd be crashing in the trees.
Well, yeah, you're an experienced aviator, so I mean, yeah, wow, that's okay. So the reason I brought that up, there was a report that was made. It was done in November, I think 14th, if I'm not mistaken, of this year, 2024. Um, it said, "Is intelligent alien life darting around in space and even in the skies above us here on Earth? As the U.S. government has the U.S. government been covering up unexplained phenomena, and that's what they call it now. They call it UPAs now. They don't call it UFOs. They call it UPAs. Unexplained phenomena, and using secret extraterrestrial discoveries to boost its own technology. Those are amongst the questions members of the Congress discussed Wednesday in a joint hearing by subcommittees of the House Oversight Committee. It's entitled "Unidentified Anom- what is it? Anomalous Phenomena: Exposing the Truth." The Pentagon issued a report in March saying that it has found no evidence of extraterrestrial spacecraft. Four experts testified in Wednesday's public hearing. So they actually had a hearing for this. They actually even have a special group that looks into these things. So this is the thing. This is the thing I'm questioning. That they've been using some of these finds. They said the phenomena and the phenomenon and using secrets, extraterrestrial discoveries to boost its own technology. So they've been using this to boost technology, like as far as some of these things that they found. And it makes you question everything. Like a lot of these inventions, sometimes you ever wondered that, can the natural human brain be that creative? Can they actually think of something like that? Like some of these things that we have, that's as far as dealing with technology, how advanced technology is. Have you ever thought that the normal brain could just come up with something like that, or it has to be something way more, way more further out there?
If it really exists, see, I'm talking about what I saw was in 1969. Technology was not what it is today. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have hardly any technology compared to today. And there was no way that I know that any human being would be flying, and there was no noise. That was another thing. First
Wow.
thing that was one of the first things we said. We said it's quiet. There's no noise. And an airplane, if it would have been an airplane, even a small airplane,
Right.
and nighttime on top of that, it's just. And I thought about it quite a while. If I said didn't make any sense, but there's a lot of things in life you can't explain. I think, who knows? That might be. I wouldn't put it past uh, being something that exists.
Right. Right.
There's a
And,
possibility. I mean, I can't prove it. I have no no clue, no picture, no nothing. But
and
I know me and Jack, we kept talking about it till we got home. It was just well, look at not airline pilots, but military pilots. They said they're on the radar, and I saw a picture of that on TV. It's right on their radar, and they go so fast that there's no way we have any airplane that fast. It's gone. You know, I mean, we don't have the capability.
and in the direction that they travel, they go like this, they go like this, they go like
Yeah,
this, they
yeah,
go.
yeah. You
Yeah.
can't. There's no airplane that can maneuver like that. So I think there's something to it, but it doesn't mean that the government knows about it because we got stupid people in the government. It's been proven in the last 4 years You
Right.
know, actually, it's been proven all my life. You know, uh, so we're going to believe the government.
Yeah. No, I get you. I get you. A lot of these things, even there was a guy and he wrote a book called The Pale White Horse. Um, he also spoken about stuff as far as like alien sightings, and this was in the 70s and 60s as well too. Like the government have been hiding. Yeah, the government. I agree with you saying some of them are not the sharpest tool in the shed, but a lot of times too, the ones that's actually trying to bring light to the world and try to actually like let people know what's going on, they also trying to shut them up too and say, "Oh, don't say
Uh,
this, don't say that. It's
yeah, but
classified."
what would they do about it? There's nothing we can do about it, and nobody's ever been hurt. You know, they never bombed anybody. We're the bombers. You know, if there's any bombers it's on this planet, people don't want to bomb this, bomb that. You know, they talk about the atomic bomb and everything. Maybe they're just people maybe watching us. Make sure we don't destroy too much. You know, I don't know. But there's something. There's something, and so far to me, it's been armless. And
Right.
my curiosity, you know, if I don't know and I can't explain it, why think about it?
It's like, well, I forgot where the saying came from. Don't bother me, don't bother you, don't bother me.
No, you know, I mean, if it was a dangerous thing, yeah, I'd be worried about it. You know, and the government would be too.
Right,
But this, I
right.
don't think the government can do a jack shit about that. I don't think they can do anything whatsoever, military or any, you know, uh, politician that thinks he's a genius. You know, they can't even explain it. The day that they can explain it, be a different, be something different.
Which is true.
I mean, what
Which is
I saw was silent, didn't make any noise. I couldn't tell the shape because it was nighttime. The lights were just, and that's it. So, what do you do with something like that? It didn't hurt me. You know, if it was something dangerous that would have crashed on me, and I didn't hear no airplane crash the next day, that people said, "Oh, there's a plane that crashed." If I would have heard of a plane crash or some incident in that area, would have been on the news, I would have said, "Oh, hey, I saw it." You know,
right. And
you know,
even to go back to what you were saying as far as that what you said, it didn't even make any noise. Even down to the smallest planes, they make noise. Do you know even the drones? Have you seen the drones, the little drones?
they hum, they make noise,
They make
they
zzz,
hum,
yep,
but not loud.
not loud, but they still make noise.
Yep,
But
yep,
you're not the first person that said that. Like a lot of people who've witnessed these things, they also said it doesn't make any noise.
yeah.
It just
But the drones didn't exist in the '60s.
right,
You know,
right.
and a lot of people have seen, you know, stuff way before the '60s. You know, there've been reports of that for many years.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. That's like
That's why I believe there's a God or a supreme being or somebody in control of this planet, the whole universe. Somebody,
100%, one hundred
you know.
percent. It's there was somebody who said something, and he was making a reference to the situation that happened in 9/11, right? And it's funny. Yeah, I'm just coining what you was going back to what you're saying and adding on to it. As far as man were the ones that's destroying, throwing, having bombs and stuff like that, nuclear weapons. Every now and then, and this was in reference to the 9/11. Every now and then, God puts us in a situation that your nightstick can't beat it and your gun can't shoot it. What do? You run. And what the guy was making a reference to, he was making a reference to 9/11. Look at all those police officers, all those people who had guns, nightsticks and stuff like that. On a normal situation, they think they would be able to control it. They was running like everybody else. running away from the situation like everybody else on that day. So every now and then, God puts you in a situation that no matter what you have, you're powerless.
Oh yeah.
Powerless.
I
Powerless.
I think I kind of believe sometimes that God pushes things to happen
Mhm.
to test us,
I
test
agree.
humans and maybe punish them at times.
I agree. It's a
Maybe
balance. You're
punish
right.
them at times because we're not perfect people. There's
Right.
nobody perfect, you know. And especially the last 4 years in this country, we had evil the whole 4 years. We had it in our politics.
Yeah.
Evil people that did evil things the whole 4 years. People suffered, people they still suffer today. Look at the inflation and this and that. That's evil. That's there's no other word for me. And what I call it, traitors.
Right.
The ones at the top, that's a traitor.
Right.
Because when
Right.
you swear an oath to protect your country and your citizens, and you don't, you open up the country, it's an invasion, it's a treason. And you know what they used to do with traitors? They used to hang them.
Yeah. Yeah.
They used to,
100%.
that's my view. I mean, I don't really give a damn anyway. I'm
Right.
going to go about my life, but I think it's evil.
Right. 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 Cut and
I,
dry.
I can't say really I don't give a damn because a lot of people suffer when you get people
Right.
like that in charge. You know. Oh well,
Especially.
well look at Hitler. Hitler was a evil bastard, right? And they're evil. They were calling Trump Hitler.
Yeah.
What he hasn't done anything to harm any Americans whatsoever.
You know something funny, and it's amazing that they had um um they had a working class black folks that was actually speaking highly of Donald Trump. Do you know the news media? They blacked out that whole thing. They didn't want to show that
Oh,
because they
well,
wanted to the narrative of him being racist and stuff like that. They wanted to keep that going.
a lot of black people voted for him
I forgot the
because
full detail of it, but yeah,
they woke up. They
yeah,
woke up
yeah.
and they felt it every day. I tell people, I said, I'm not a genius. I don't know much about politics. I follow it, but you know, every day you knew because you went shopping, you bought groceries, you bought gas, you bought this, you bought that. So that was a reminder every day for 4 years. So when it comes time to vote again, ooh, the light come on. The light
Yeah,
even came on the most stupid person.
yep,
Really?
yep.
Ooh, I knew he was going to win. I told a lot of my friends, oh, I said, providing they don't steal it.
Right. And I think
Providing
he
they don't steal it.
correct. And I think he even had this time around he had the military in place just in case they tried to do that. Just
Yep.
in case he was like, nope, it's gonna be fair and square this time. Fair and
Yeah.
square. No
Yep.
funny.
He was too big to rig.
Yep, yep.
And now
So
eventually people wake up, especially when it affects their daily life. Every day is a reminder.
right,
You
right.
can only push people so far, and they took the blacks for granted, you know, and they took the minority, a lot of people, not just the blacks, they took a lot of people for granted. And then they go, oh, why did we lose the election? I mean, geez, God, why?
It's
No.
it's oh man. And it's just amazing. Like once you once you don't have that person around, then you start realizing what they have done for you. And stuff like that. And look, no president, every president had their downside in there, but what you mentioned, like, and I agree, what we had the last 4 years, holy snap.
All on purpose, all done on purpose. None of that should have happened.
So
Open the border? Why? That's the most evil move right there. That's the
Now,
most evil move of opening up the border.
did you see?
Invasion. The invasion started, and I mean, we're going to pay the price. Even it'll be a long time before this. If we can get rid of most of them, I don't know. I don't see how that's going to work. But you cannot do that to your people. Not claiming that you care about the American people.
Right.
Because if you claim that, you're talking on both sides of your mouth. And that's what Joe Biden done for 4 years.
Yep.
Look what he's done now.
Yep. And they showed, and it's funny. They was doing a comparison, like a highlight comparison to back then to now. They showed when Trump was trying to create the wall, and what people said, "How you gonna do that? That's not right. America is the land of the free, home of the brave." That was before. Now they showed right after. Let everybody in. Bring them all in. Oh my God, they taking the jobs. These people are criminals. What do you think? You see, I think the media sometimes they not I think they
media
to kind of go with the narrative. So the narrative that they was trying to push out was Trump was a certain way.
Oh, yeah.
And to tell you, and I think we spoke about this off camera. I don't know about you, but having a business person, somebody who knows business, is actually the right way to go as far as with the country.
That's what we need. It needs to be run like a business. A business doesn't run on losing money, because you got to be gone quick. If you got a business, you want to make money, not spend money. And it didn't make any sense to me. And the media in this country, to me, it is our worst enemy, worse than any plague, worse than any war, worse than any atomic bomb. You are evil to the core. Media never told a word of truth.
And
never told a word of truth. There was no truth to it, and they lied and lied. And people woke up and started looking at different media, the ones that were telling the truth. All I want is the truth. If somebody lies to me one time, I don't trust them.
Yep.
I mean, that's it. That's it.
Yep.
Oh, say, well, I misspoke. I've had a friend that told me that one time. I misspoke. You told me a story that was totally false. What do you mean you misspoke? You can misspoke maybe when you're talking and may say the wrong word and you retract yourself, and but they think we're stupid.
Yep.
They think we're stupid. I don't know what my IQ is. I finished the 9th grade and I did pretty damn well with my life. And I managed my damn money pretty good. So I ain't stupid. You know what it is? Common sense. You either have common sense or you don't. And if there's no common sense in what they're saying, why listen to them? That's why I don't listen to them. I have occasionally, I'll turn the TV on and by accident pop on one of them crazy line station network, and I'll look for listen for about maybe 5 minutes, and it don't take me long. By the time I get to 20 seconds, I'm in the wrong network. Because it was a lie from first word till the last.
Let me ask you: have you ever had a conversation with somebody and you could tell that they get 100% their information from the media, like just by talking to somebody like a couple of seconds? Like I've always asked people certain things, like when simple stuff with Trump being a racist. Now, do I know Trump personally? No, I don't. But I'm just judging by the words that came out of his mouth. I always ask people, I said, is there videos of this man saying these certain things that you're accusing him of? They said, okay, is there videos of this man saying particular things? Or is somebody saying it on his behalf? Or they're writing it down in front of CNN and saying, Trump said, did you actually? So you're saying it's not true? Now they start turning the tables on you and start looking at you like you're the enemy. Now it's like, oh, you know what? Never mind.
Oh yeah, they'll know right away. Yeah, I mean, not Trump wouldn't have got where he's at if he be a racist or if he homophobe he doesn't care about those things. To me, to him, and he's a very giving guy.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, he helps people. He likes people. He don't hate people. You know, and everything he said that the first day that when he got elected, the very first time, he kept his promises. He kept
And
every promise that he
this is
made.
the thing I want to bring to your attention. We was talking about how forget what's being said. You knew where to go because it affected your bottom line, your day-to-day living. You seen what was going on with prices. I remember when I was working, there was a place I used to work at, and when he was in power, I remember taxes. I was paying less taxes. And I looked, I was like, I thought they made a mistake with my check. I said, I stayed quiet. I looked at my check and I went like this. I said, oh. And they said, what happened? I said, nothing, nothing. Then I went home and I asked my family. They was like, nah, you're paying the taxes has gone lower. They dropped the taxes. And I said, look at this stuff. For the first time, we have a president that you actually seeing without looking out the window, without looking on TV, without hearing, this is what I'm doing for you. You actually seeing in your own personal life, like, oh shit, there's
Yep.
this actual stuff that he
Yep.
is doing.
Yep.
So, and here's another thing people are mentioning, and I had a back and forth with somebody. The PPP loans that he gave out. People are saying, you like Trump and stuff like that. I said, listen, forget like or hate. We're talking about the good stuff he did. And yes, let's talk about the bad stuff he did. But let's focus on the good stuff first. The PPP loans. Yeah, the PPP loans. Now he created the division. He's locking people up who he gave the PPP loans to and stuff like that. And I said, slow it down. What was it called? A PPP loan. Loan. What is a loan? Something that you borrow and you have to pay back.
That's
Now,
right.
now the loan, and I said, correct me if I'm wrong, this PPP loan, wasn't he giving those loans out for people as far as who had low income to actually start your own business? And the whole thing was to invest it in a real business. And once you start turning around, like with me, I've done business myself. The average time for you to start seeing income is like 4 years, 3 to 4 years, as
Oh
far
yeah.
as business to start turning around. You're not going to make money yourself. The business is the first is the first thing that's going to make money. So when I told that person this, they was like, so what are you saying? He was right. I said, it's a loan. Did the people use that money to invest in a business or they used it to invest in something else? Let's be honest. And now they can't pay back that money that they was loaned to, that money that was loaned to them. So you can't blame Trump as far as saying that he was evil for this. He was no, it was a loan. Whether Trump is in power or not, any
And I
loan that
guarantee they didn't pay it anyway. I guarantee they never paid it.
nope, nope, nope.
So
Even I heard the craziest things. Even during that time with the whole situation, the rent they had stopped with the rent because of the whole COVID situation. They had slowed down with people with the landlords. They told the landlords to tell their tenants to give them a break with the rent, like don't collect rent from them for a couple of months because people are falling on hard times and stuff like that. And then you can collect that money, the back money and everything else later on, where things pick back up. The tenants in their mind, they heard that, oh, we live rent free for like 3 4 months and we don't have to worry about paying those 3 4. No, you have to pay that money. They just giving you that break. Now if you was wise enough, any little bit of money that you was earning, you save it, you put it aside, you save
yeah,
it, and then that way when it's time to pay it back, you got something. So
yeah.
it's like people have their own interpretation of things sometimes, and they just, it's just
Oh yeah. Well, a lot of people are not informed. And a lot of people don't read a lot, don't watch the right news, you know, and don't pay attention to the laws that are passed. You know, a lot of people don't follow politics a lot. Like senators and the laws they pass. the Congress and all of that stuff. A lot of people are uninformed, and it's sad. That's the first thing I did. I've been following politics probably since I was 19, 20 years old. I really got interested in it, And if you don't do that, it's hard to, if you don't know what the certain laws exist or don't exist, certain rules. There's a whole lot to it. And the politicians take advantage of it. The uninformed.
Which is majority of us, because we get our main sources of information is CNN and all of these things. And
I don't think I'd ever give CNN more. If I did, it's because I was channel surfing and they didn't get more than 3-4 seconds.
Was there
MSNBC, CNN, all of that is just
was there ever that they was actually giving out the truth? Was there ever a point in time, or they was always like that?
They were, when they had what was his name? One of the journalists. They were real journalists back in the day.
Tom Brokaw.
Time, like in the 50s, 60s, 70s. I remember the first time I watched TV. My dad was interested in politics, but they told. I'm sure there was some that were lying, but it was not like it is now. Now they really don't care. They really don't care. They'll just say stuff that just make it up. They make it up.
Changing gears a little bit. Back in the because I've seen documents on this. Back in the 50s and 60s, before yellow tape, when there was a crime scene, was it true that the public was actually able to go around the crime scene and judge for themselves what happened and stuff like that? And they was able to look and say, oh, this happened, that happened, and stuff like that. But now they created a yellow tape and they have the reporters there, and the people are not allowed to be there in certain distance. And then now you have they tell you what happened and stuff like that. So was it true back in the days they didn't have yellow tape? Like you was literally.
No, I don't think I saw that till. My God, I can't remember what year, but it was maybe in the 70s.
Right.
Maybe in the 70s they start putting the
yellow tape.
Yeah, crime scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh wow. Unbelievable.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Yep. So okay, so we're gonna change gears a little bit. The conversation, by the way. We're gonna change gears and we're gonna go into your promotion. You had a promotion that you ran. I think it was from, was it 1995? Well, it says from 1995 to 2001. You ran a promotion in Knoxville, Tennessee, called the Tennessee Mountain Wrestling.
Oh no, that was what's his name? That was Tennessee Mountain Wrestling. Was the guy we talked earlier about? He was a manager. What was his name? Tennessee Mountain Wrestling.
Right. You talking about Jim Cornette?
Jim Cornette. That was his.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing I had part of wrestling was when the Poffos, Angelo Poffo, Randy Savage, and all that, we were all in the promotion. I had 20% of that business. I owned 20%, and I was in the office a lot. Go to the office, and
Did they bring you in because you had access to talent? What was the purpose?
What happened is I was in Knoxville, Tennessee. I told you, I was over like crazy. Bob Roop, who Bob Roop is. Bob Roop came in. Bob Roop was going to do the booking, and all of that. And Bob Orton Jr., myself. Anyway, the great Malenko. Uh, there was some good talent in there. Well, we went opposition to Fuller, Ron Fuller, went opposition, and it didn't work. We kind of split the wrestling fans, and it's not that big of a city, Knoxville, and so the crowds were not good. We weren't drawing very well, so we weren't doing very good. So is the opposite, the other promotion. So the Poffos were starting a promotion in Lexington, Kentucky, 200 miles north of Knoxville.
Mm-hmm.
So they came to us and we had a meeting. They wanted to, we all go together.
Right.
And I was over like hell in Knoxville. I told you that earlier, So when they asked, and I had a problem with Randy before that, when I was working for Crockett Promotion.
Right.
So I didn't know how that was going to work. The first meeting, and so I told him, I says, I'll go in on it with 20%, 20% of the business. And they agreed. And I think the group at 10%. I think Orton at 10%. Anyway, we split, we were like six people owning the promotion. And that gives us talent, and we had access to other talent. So that's when we moved to Lexington eventually from Knoxville, and I was up there, and I did some part of the booking, so was Randy Savage, and that lasted 1979, 1980, maybe a year and a half to 2 years. And then as a little Poffo starts screwing the boys, pay off. You wouldn't pay them right. And that didn't go over very well with me, Bob Roop, and Bob Orton. So we finally left the promotion.
Wow. Yeah.
And that was about the only time I was involved in, promoting and.
Got you.
Did you? I was involved. It was in Northby, Ontario, when the promoter gave us, Terry Garvin and I, 50%, 25% each to run it, just to run it.
Okay.
Because he was getting older, and he was a promoter, and he'd been promoting since the 50s. This was 65, 66, 7, 8, all the way to 69. We had 25% each. I did the booking. I did the booking the matches and everything. Terry did make sure the newspaper ads and radio, TV, and the town, run the town, handling the money. That was Terry's job,
Okay.
At the box office, when we went to the Sault Ste. Marie, all those towns we were going. But we did that until 69. So I had some experience booking. I'd done a lot of different angles and stuff. But then I didn't use it much after that. But it was good because, it's like when I went to New York, I was lost there. I said, what are we going to do here? Well, I came up with this idea, and I told Vince McMahon, and that's what me and Greg Valentine did. I told him that's the guy I want to work with.
Well, okay. I'm glad that we entered the arena of the WWF, well, the WWE right now, because what we're covering, and we're here for the main event. What we're covering today is going to be the Big Fours. Now we're going to be discussing the Big Fours that you was involved. The Big Fours were the big pay-per-view events. I think now it's called the Big Five because now it's the Money in the Bank that they included. But the Big Four: Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Survivor Series, SummerSlam. So, and you was involved in all Big Four of those in 1989. So we're going to start off with SummerSlam 1989. It happened in the Meadowlands Arena in New Jersey. So let me ask you, during that time when it came down to working a big event, well, all right, pay-per-view events for working with Vince McMahon. You've done house shows with Vince McMahon. You've done you've done house shows. You've worked. I'm sure you worked in B towns, A towns. You worked when I say A towns, they always called the A towns like the towns that Hulk Hogan was under, and I'm sure all the boys wanted to work where Hogan was working because it was more money. Correct?
Yeah, not always though. You know, there was a lot of people say Hulk Hogan. Yeah, he drew, but you know, by himself, there would have been nobody there. You know, that's the way I look at the business. You know,
Right.
without the rest of the guys, Hogan or not, you know, yeah, he drew. It's like when Ric Flair was on the card. The house was good, but it takes all of it.
Right.
It takes the whole. You know, it's like that's why you got one guy's on the main event, one guy's in the, you know, uh, there's double main event sometimes. So if you got double main event, that means that it's the matches should be pretty damn equal as far as drawing money. So that helps, you know. So you can't leave these guys out.
Right.
Like I know I was in the main event, and when I wrestled with Greg Valentine,
Right.
we weren't a double, but that was a double main event match. You know,
Okay.
so you can't eliminate the other guys. It's like even underneath cards. A lot of people eliminate the underneath guys. Well, you think you're going to draw with two matches, the main event and the other main event. No other matches.
Right.
You know, I don't think it worked very well.
You're right.
You know, you got something that goes out. Somebody the first matches is like warm up. You know, get the fans. You know, maybe because the guys are not known or whatever, but it warms them up. You know, and then it should get better as the evening progresses. You know, that's the way I look at it. It's not one man thing. It's like a football. You know, you got one quarterback. He won the game by himself.
Right.
Well, I don't think that could be possible.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
You're
and I'm not taking anything away from Hulk Hogan. Yeah, he draws money. Yeah, he did. Did he's over like hell. He's like he was a big deal. He was a big deal. But
but you always need that supporting cast.
you need the whole thing.
Yeah. Never looked at it like that, but yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Um. So let me ask you. All right. You're working for Vince. You did the house shows, and then now it's the pay-per-view events. The pay-per-view. What take us through it? What was it like? You had to get there how many hours early? Let's say the pay-per-view started 8 o'clock. What time would you have to arrive at the arena?
Well, we're supposed to be there. I think it was an hour and a half or 2 hours before.
Really?
Yeah, you
Okay.
got fined if you were there too late. Yeah, Vince, find the guys if you don't weren't there on time. You know.
Right. Right. Right.
Well,
Um.
because they don't want to go on and say, oh, so and so is missing. You know, we didn't have anything to do. We just sat around. You know, it was kind of boring. Sit there for hour and a half to 2 hours. You know, and
Right.
it was good if I was on earlier. You know, if you're gone later, well, you sit there longer.
Which
But
is true.
they have to make sure that they got all the talent and there's nobody missing. And then all of a sudden they go on TV with this big event and oh shit, the guys are not here. So it's not here. You know.
So pretty much there was like a road call that had to been done before the event started, like to find out the attendance to make sure everybody is there and so on
Yeah.
and so forth. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Did you guys at least? I know you told me that you guys were sitting around doing nothing, but at least did you guys shoot promos and stuff like that? Do promos and things like that before the actual event? That was
Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes, depending on what match you were in, you'd have a promo, or if you was in a town they wanted to advertise. You know. Yeah. Sometimes you didn't do anything but wait. You know. Well, because it gets pretty busy when you get, like WrestleMania and stuff like that.
Right, right. Gotcha, gotcha. And nowadays, SummerSlam has becoming almost just as big as WrestleMania.
Really?
It's they've do it. I think it's a 2-3 day event, SummerSlam itself. So for
Oh, really?
yeah, I know before it used to be only a 1 day event, and then the WrestleMania it was a 2 day event. It was WrestleMania weekend, and then so on and so forth.
Oh, not when I was there.
Oh, it was a 1 day. WrestleMania was 1 day.
Yeah,
It started.
yeah.
Okay, okay,
Well,
okay.
if they got away with 2 days, that's even more revenue.
Yeah,
But when I
yeah.
went there, just a one event.
One event. Yep.
But
Yep.
that's a night. You know,
Gotcha.
it's like
Gotcha.
yeah, they come up with more ideas, and it's just like in the old days. We never wrestle on Sundays, holidays, Sundays, and then the promoters find out there was money, so we wrestle on Sundays, Mondays.
Even twice on Sundays.
Yeah, twice.
Okay, so let's fast forward. We have Jesse the Body Ventura. This is SummerSlam 1989. We have Jesse the Body Ventura and Tony Schiavone doing the commentating. Any experience, any history as far as with Jesse the Body, any stories, or even Tony Schiavone?
Oh, Tony Schiavone was good. He was very good. What's his name? I never was around him. That I remember. I might have been in the dressing room, but not too many times if I was.
Right, right,
And I thought he was a shits anyway. He could talk and talk and talk, but his work was.
I, was he? I guess.
That would have been for the size and his mouth. He would have never worked.
Right, right. He was I guess he was the poor man version of superstar Billy Graham. Oh
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
And Tony Schiavone.
Tony Schiavone was a very good commentator. Very good. Yeah, very smart guy. Very good.
You had experience with him from other promotions prior.
Oh yeah, Jim Crockett promotion.
Yep. Yep.
I guess he's still around, isn't he? I don't know.
But doing AEW.
Oh.
Yeah, he's doing AEW promotion.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first match we have the Hart Foundation. The Hart Foundation versus the Brain Busters, the team of Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. Any stories managed by Bobby Heenan? Any stories you have on Arn Anderson or Tully Blanchard?
Oh, they're both good, great workers. I worked with both of them many times. Arn is a super man. I tell you, Arn reminds me. The matches I had with him was about just as good or better than with Greg Valentine. We just clicked. You go in the ring, man, and it was just it was just a pleasure.
Yeah.
And
thinking about it, yeah, I see you guys meshing well together as far as the style.
Tully was good. Tully was good. Yeah, Tully was a cocky kind of guy. He was, and he got heat, and it worked. And he was a hustler, man. He worked hard. He was a hard-working guy. I remember. I think I told you that. We had it was in the summer. They had these shows in the open like ballparks and stuff like that. What they call it. It was a big deal in the summer. Not SummerSlam. The bashes. The bashes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they call it. Yeah. Anyway, we went. I think I was in Memphis, Tennessee. It was outdoor ballpark, and we're in the ring, and the referee is there. And he's telling us, instructions, and Tully is standing in front of me, and he goes, just gives me a little slap, just real light on the chin, and I went poof, busted his teeth.
Oh. Oh man.
after that, I ran into him a bunch of times, and that's the first thing he talked about. About I said, sorry, bud. You shouldn't have done that.
Oh, no.
uh, so,
Wow.
but yeah, I like to work with him. He's a good worker. Had some good talent. Good talent. You know, Ed DiBiase, guys like that. You know, it was fun to work in a territory where you had good. You know, the Anderson brothers. You know,
And in '89, you've had some familiar faces working around you. These were people that you've worked with in other territories in '89. Am I correct? Like the Crockett
yeah,
promotion,
yeah,
WCW.
yeah, yeah. That makes
Um,
it that makes it so much easier. You know, to me, it was so much easier to go in a ring with a guy that works his ass off. You get a good sweat. It was like going to the gym and having a good workout. Made you feel good, and the response from the people, you know. And you went in a ring with some guys that was just didn't know his
so,
ass from his head. That's what I call it.
yeah, yeah. The story tell you guys told the story in the ring, and oh, let me ask you something. When it came down to working your matches, was there such thing back in the days as far as you and that guy sitting down in the locker room and just working the whole match, or you went out there and just
No,
felt?
I never done. I can honestly say that I would no, I never done that. I
Nice.
never done that. I've had a lot of guys says, "Oh, what do you want to do?" I says, "Get in the ring." I said, "We'll play it by ear." You know, get in the ring. We don't know. I want to do this. I want to do that. But I'm not. You know, it's not a circus. You know, I mean, you got to feel it. You know,
Right.
I've seen matches, man. I mean, you start slow, build it up, and you know, that's it's like Ric Flair. We never talked about the match.
Right.
We never have. You know,
Do
we
you
didn't
feel?
have to. We didn't have to. You just go by the feel. You know, and when you want something, you grab it. You know, want a headlock? I'm gonna get that damn headlock on your ass. You know, and you want my arm in the back? Yeah, you're gonna have to work for it. Otherwise, it looks like shit.
Very good. Yeah. Got you.
It's, make it look like a fight. It's got to be a fight, but you're working. You're not trying to kill the guy. You know,
Um. So let me ask you something. Do you feel like? Do you think that one of the reasons why it never really worked too well as far as um, working out your match in the locker room, because let's say you worked out a certain angle in the match and it's not working, the fans are not really gravitating to it. Do you think some wrestlers, because they worked it out, that's what they worked out in the locker room, that they're going to keep going at it and not even worry about what the fans think and just keep going, versus how you guys did it back in the days, playing it by ear? If something worked, keep going, and if it didn't work, switch on a blink of an eye, just change it. So
plus it looks like a routine. You know, uh, I never liked the. To me, that's not wrestling.
right.
And I got lucky. Most of the guys when I worked with a guy that didn't, I just ate him up. I kept him down and rolled him around and pinched his nipples and pulled the hair under his armpits and you know slapped him on the side. You know, you get slapped on the side. That wakes you up. What else you gonna do? You know, I worked with some guys that I didn't think they could stand up.
Wow.
Trip over themselves and clumsy and take a headlock like some old 90-year-old lady.
At the end of the day, you just tell them, listen, your job, just breathe in and out. I'll do the rest.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? You can't sell somebody that throws a punch at you and doesn't touch you.
Right, right,
I have
right,
to work with guys like that.
right.
They expect you to fly across the ring because they punched you. That the punch stopped about 2 inches before it hit your head. You know,
You're from the school. I know you're from the school. Like, if it doesn't look like a connect, don't sell it. Don't
Oh,
sell it. Don't sell it.
and the thing I didn't like is they put guys on TV, especially television, when they did TV. They get these guys to do a job so you beat them. When you go out there, what are you going to do with somebody like that that don't know hardly anything? I was always against that. I've always, me and Ole, we had a couple of words over that. No, we didn't get no big argument, but when he was a booker in, in Georgia, a few times he put me in a ring with some guys that, you know, they've probably been wrestling for the last probably they probably started a week before. You know, they probably did. I mean, they didn't know nothing. You had to lock up, and there was nothing there. What do? You make a match out of them. You body slam him, you throw him in one end of the ring to the other, man, and you just, and then beat him. Sit on his chest. I used to sit on their chest and go, what else are you going to do?
Oh man, gotcha.
Well, it was, it was almost like embarrassing.
Right.
It doesn't make you look good. And, it's obvious to the fans that, I'm taking advantage of this guy, maybe, but I'm just going to roll him around a few times, body slam him, suplex him, and, it's not a contest.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because I like to work with guys, go out there and let's work, man.
Yep.
It's rewarding at the end, when you had a good match, man, and it was solid, and
Have you become tighter with a particular, like, okay, you guys, they match you up with somebody and you guys don't really know each other that well, but then you guys mesh together so well and had such a great match that you guys end up becoming real. Have that ever happened to you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I always, if I never worked with the person, when I locked up with them, I knew. I knew. Locked up a couple of times, and I knew it was going to be a good, you know. And sometimes I knew before because I had watched the guy, and good matches, and you can tell.
Right. Okay, so we're going back to the match with the Brain Busters, which is Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard versus the Hart Foundation, which is Bret Hitman Hart and Jim the Anvil Nine Hart. The Brain Busters ends up winning that particular match. They win by let's see. I'm actually watching it right now as we speak. They win by a pinfall, as a matter of fact. It wasn't a clean finish like usual. Bobby Heenan had to get involved in it, distracting the referee. But well, let me ask you something. Do you feel like, speaking about Bobby Heenan, before we move to the next match, do you feel like they don't use managers, like managers are not being used in a quality way like they used to back in the days? Like, I don't even think they use managers now. The only managers that I see that has any form of relevance is Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is great. And that's pretty much it. I don't know anybody that stands out. Like back in the days, we've had your handful of managers and they all did work. Like they just didn't only manage, they was very influential in the locker room, correct? As far as the managers, they helped out a lot in the locker room.
Had a manager. I don't know. Managers usually didn't know how to wrestle.
Right.
Well,
Bobby,
what it's. I wouldn't have, if I would have had a manager, I wouldn't have listened to him. Because I got to do what I mean, their ideas might have been good for them.
Right.
But I know what I want.
Right.
I knew what to do. And it's just, it's like dancing. You want to have a manager tell you which move, when to one to spin, one to do this, one to do that. You know, it's just to me, wrestling was pretty simple. People come here, pay their hard-earned money to see a fight.
Right.
What the hell are you doing? I watch guys and I said, what the hell are they doing? That's not a fight. You know, they look like two old douchebags in a ring rolling around and falling on each other and, you know, uh, out of shape, belly hanging. And, you know, I'm going, geez. I wouldn't watch it. Like I said, it was embarrassing. I'd turn around, go back in the dressing room, go hide somewhere. You know? I don't know. It's hard to explain. To me, you either got it or you don't. You know, and some guys have it, and some the guys that don't have it are usually those job guys.
Right.
Because if a guy stays around a while, you know, they got to be. Some of them are decent. You know, they're not the top, but they're decent workers. You know, and we needed guys like that. You know, needed guys like that. But at least make it look decent. You know, when you might not believe it 100%, but
I agree. I agree. Um,
because
okay.
if you go to college and everything, there's those guys in the ring. They all know how to wrestle. You know,
Yeah.
unless it's your first match, but I guarantee you have worked out with somebody, and you know,
That's more of a shooting style.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we got to look. The more you wrestle, the less people can see through it.
Got you.
You know, you're kicking and everything, and half of them are missing, or you got guys that were stomping, and it didn't even look. You know, you could stomp a balloon, and the balloon would be in there 10 minutes later, still stomping it. You know, I mean, it's like there's no real feelings in it. You know, but a
Yep.
manager to me, it was just there to create the distraction and get some heat. You know, and stuff like that. Get involved in the match.
Got you.
That was the whole idea of a manager. You know, you're not like a manager, a boxing manager. You know, where you know
Right.
take the rag and pour water on them and give them a towel and all that. Wrestling, they didn't do that. You know.
And funny. I'm gonna
Yeah.
add to what you said as far as um a lot of the managers they never really wrestled, so you wouldn't listen to them. You see a boxing coach,
Oh yeah.
um,
Yeah.
e-
Yeah.
even even you heard fighters say, even as a ring announcer to be a commentator, forget ring announcer, a commentator. Fighters feel, and I agree with them. Fighters feel like to be a ring announcer, number one, to be a coach, you should have had experience inside the ring because you know to tell the fighter when to pull back, when to go in, because you yourself have had experience in there and you know how it feels.
Oh
To be
yeah.
a,
Yeah.
be a commentator, to start commentating on professional boxers, you need to have that background. You need to have had to be in that ring for quite some time to actually call a match, to give your opinion about certain things on why this happened or why this shouldn't happen. So I get what you're saying when you yeah when it comes down to it. But
You see, a manager in wrestling was like you said in boxing. Yeah, usually those managers knew how to box. You know, they knew
yep.
coaches. No, I know I had that experience with a coach one time.
Oh man. So okay, so we moving forward. So now we're in the back, and me and Gene Okerlund is interviewing Dusty Rhodes. We got the infamous yellow polka dots that he's wearing. uh, the the funny thing is, you mentioned if you got it, you got it. Dusty Rhodes, very charismatic, very
Yeah.
charismatic. He had charisma, good talker on the microphone, very good talker. As far as what was your thoughts on Dusty Rhodes? I know we spoken about Dusty as far as a promoter, but as
No,
far as
the worker. Oh, they were fantastic. Yeah, I remember when I first met him. Yeah, I met him I was in Florida, I would have been 66 or 67 when Dusty Rhodes and Dick Murdoch came in. And they were back then. They were called themselves something. I can't remember. They were a tag team. They came down to Florida as a tag team. Oh, they were good. They got heat right off, man. I mean, people, they were heels. People hated them. You know. Oh, they were good. I traveled with them, and they traveled with me. I mean, I was driving all the time, and we had a good time.
Nice, nice.
Oh,
nice.
Murdoch, man, they had a great team. If you didn't believe them, I'll tell you what, they were. And Dusty later on, when he became a booker, that's when he changed. You know, well, he was, but that's business. People change. He was still a good worker, but he didn't wrestle as much. He was involved in promotion, booking. His booking was the shits. Sometimes, not all the time, but he didn't. I don't know. He didn't. He was a lot for himself.
Right.
To look good, because he was. See, a booker should not be wrestling. Because you're going to put yourself where? Main event.
On the top.
You're going to put yourself in the best town. So, but I didn't dislike him. I kind of ignored him. Not ignore him totally, but I didn't hang around. Okay.
Right.
I used to before, and we never had any words, but I could see what he was doing.
Right.
Like when I tell people, I said, when I won the belt, I never defended it. He never booked me a whole month with somebody for a title match. Never. Wow. That's never been done in my lifetime of the territories that I went and traveled. If you won the title, you defended it.
Right.
I was getting over too much. I know. I could tell. He didn't like that.
So he tried to make you cold.
So he booked me. I made money, but I didn't make the same money, because if there would have been title matches, I would have made more money. That's never heard of it. A whole month. And then a month and a half later, I think I had maybe one match. I defended the title. I think. I'm not sure. Anyway. And then we got this match in Detroit where Flair's trying to take back the belt. Right? And he did. And which was fine. Because I didn't want to travel like that, being called all the time. Which, if they would say keep it up, probably would have liked keep it a few more weeks, a month or two, but it was not a long thing. Because I retired not long after. For that reason, I didn't want to be on the road.
Right. I got you.
But and I saw him with the Rock and Roll Express. I think I told you that before. The Rock and Roll Express were over. My God, they was like stars,
right.
And the girls were crazy about those guys, man. It's just the crowds. Well, when they start drawing in a town that he was not in, because he was in another town and the Rock and Roll Express was over there, and they drew more money over there than they did where he was, he booked himself with them, 6-man tag team. So, it would rub off. It would rub off on them, on him.
There you go, to get the rub. I got that. That's what I was about to say. Yep. Yep.
And I used to laugh. I said, well, because it didn't hurt me. It didn't hurt me money-wise or any other way. But I watch people. I watch when somebody does things, and that was his way.
Mm-hmm.
And then people say, this and that. Right. But because he changed, he was in a different position than being just a wrestler.
Correct. But I mean, last on this subject, do you feel like power corrupts you, or power reveals what was always inside of you?
Well, maybe he didn't think it was wrong. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think he took any money out of my pocket. Maybe by not booking me, defending the belt, it probably would have made quite a bit more money. But that part, I didn't care. Sometimes people do stuff just maybe he didn't mean to.
Right.
If it would have caused me some damages,
Right.
or the Rock and Roll Express, no, it was an ego thing.
Right.
Put it that way, just an ego, and we all have egos, and I don't know how big my ego is, but I usually don't try to have an ego. I don't care.
Right.
I left
right.
many territories, man. I don't work. I'm gone. Bye bye. Take a picture.
So
life should be simple. I always try to make it as simple as it can be.
right.
Just like when I retired, I said, granny gear, the low gear. When the truck is in low gear, it barely moves. That's me.
Gotcha.
I don't rush. I don't race. My blood pressure is perfect. It is. I want to keep it that way.
That's smart. So the match next match is Dusty Rhodes versus Honky Tonk Man. Any stories about the Honky Tonk Man?
He was weird. Honky Tonk. Well, he didn't have much wrestling. It was honky tonking. Whatever. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It didn't look like no real big fight, I'll tell you.
One thing about especially the 80s, do you think that if you had a gimmick and you didn't really know how to wrestle, if you had a strong gimmick, that helped you out in the business of professional wrestling back in the 80s?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did. In the 80s. Well, look at all the promoters, the Crockett's, even Eddie Graham. There was so much, we got to get wrestling, show him some wrestling and all of that stuff. But when it comes time to bringing A-Stack Calhoun, big joke, A-Stack Calhoun, 600 pounds, my God, I could have rolled him on his back in 2 seconds. He poor guy didn't know anything about wrestling. What they did is they probably talked into the dressing room, and the guys would take runs at him, bounced off his belly, and then 4 or 5 times, and then A-Stack would just splash him, supposed to weigh 600 pounds. I think he did, and it would splash him. How exciting is that? How exciting is that? But the promoters still booked him because it was an attraction.
Gotcha.
It was just a big attraction, and A-Stack made some money, I guess, but I didn't want to wrestle people like that. I wrestled, remember the McGuire twins?
No.
McGuire twins, they were 600 pounds each.
What?
Look them up. Look them up. Google them. Google them just for the hell of them.
Let me do that right now.
McGuire
twins.
McGuire twins. Wrestling.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. So what the I got it. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna let me give the thank you for that one. I'm gonna give the rundown. The McGuire twins, Billy Leon and McCary, born December 7th, 1946, passed away July 14th, 1979, and Benny Lloyd McCary, born December 7th, 1946, passed away March 26th, 2001, known together as the McCary twins, or under their stage name, the McGuire twins.
They had these little mini Hondas, motorcycles. Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost killed one time.
Oh my God. And it's
Really,
like,
really,
wow.
I scared the hell out of me. I forgot who was my partner.
Mhm.
I forgot. I was in Tennessee. I was in Tennessee. We was in a tag match, and they were so big that one of them would wrestle. The other one couldn't stay on the apron. He had to stay inside the ring because he couldn't get in.
Mhm.
He barely fit between the ropes.
Right.
And so anyway, you were regular tag teams, and they got a rope in the corner. Where when you hold the rope to tag.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
The
Well,
tag rope.
yeah. Well, I took that rope in the corner, wrapped it around his neck, and tie it behind his neck. I tied it, you know. Well, and I came back into the ring, and I'm kicking him in the belly, and I'm punching him, and I'm done, and he's sinking. And then all of a sudden, I realized, holy shit, he could, if he would have passed out, he was almost blue, choking. Right. See, he couldn't reach and undo that.
Right.
Usually we work with regular guys. You get tied up, you can always maneuver. This guy couldn't even turn. He was too big, but I never had work with a guy like that. So I didn't do that on purpose. I just tried to get some heat, and I was beating the shit out of him, and stomping on him. And he's going down and down. If he would have passed out, he would have decapitated himself. The 600 pounds would have ripped his head plumb off. Timekeeper was sitting right in the corner where we were. He saw it. He jumped on the apron with his pocket knife and cut the rope. And the big man just went down. And then I jumped with both feet to his belly. And
What? Oh, shit.
Well, I used to do that. I used to jump with both feet in the belly. I didn't know. I didn't realize that's what was going on.
Wow.
So, but then he never talked to me again. And his brother told me, he says, I tried to talk to him, but you didn't do it on purpose. I said, no, I didn't do it on purpose. I never worked with guys that,
Wow.
didn't want to tell them that, big old fat.
I'm surprised one of them passed in the year 2000. I'm surprised they lasted this long, being that size.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they were. Oh, the belly. I saw him naked in the shower. The belly would hang all the way down to the knee.
So, okay.
They got married. They got married to these two sisters. Pretty girls, really. They were very famous. They appeared on TV and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, on the motorcycles. And anyway, I asked them one time, how do you make love? They told me. They had to hold their belly up, lay down and hold their belly up.
Yeah. Oh man, it got the job done, I guess. So, did they have any kids? Did they end up having any kids?
No, I don't know. I wasn't around, but not very long, maybe a month or 3 months. I might have run into them 2 or 3 times. Right. I don't know the situation with their family, if they had any kids, or I don't know. But one of them never talked to me again.
Oh wow, I'm sorry to hear about that.
I talked to him, man. I didn't realize what was going on.
Right. They actually guest starred in TV shows back in the days. I see both of them with Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
It was with Wonder Woman on a particular thing. Okay. This will probably end up being one of the thumbnails, a clip that we'll take from. This is an interesting story. Thank you for sharing that one. I didn't know that. Okay, so going back to the SummerSlam now, we have Dusty Rhodes versus Honky Tonk Man. Honky Tonk Man sets up Dusty Rhodes, holds both his arms. Jimmy Hart jumps up on the apron with Honky Tonk Man guitar and get ready to swing at Dusty Rhodes, doing the heel move. And then Dusty Rhodes move out the way. Honky Tonk Man gets the hit over the head with the guitar, and Dusty Rhodes pin him 1, 2, 3. And the funny part is, you got Honky Tonk Man walking out the ring all dizzy and stuff, and Sean Mooney interviews him, and Honky Tonk Man is out of his mind. He's like, where am I? Something, Peggy Sue. He just starts, he just goes back to the locker room. But Sean Mooney was another good one too. That made an interesting transition. Did you ever have any dealings with Sean Mooney?
I never heard of him.
No, yeah, he was a radio personality who became. Well, I think he was he started off as a wrestling personality, as a commentator, as a journalist or reporter, and then he became a radio personality. He has his own radio show. Yeah, yeah, that's a lot of these guys. They actually made a good, interesting, or pretty good transition to other businesses as well, which worked out for them. So So now we go back to the locker room. Who's next with me and Gene Okerlund? We have Demolition, Axe and Smash. It's a 6-man tag. And who's the third man with Demolition? We have Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So before we go to Hacksaw Jim Duggan, any stories with Demolition, Axe and Smash? Do you have any stories with those two guys?
I refereed a match one time. I remember that when I was a referee, when I worked the angle with Greg Valentine. Remember when I had a loser leave?
Yep.
And yeah, I came back as a referee.
Right.
And I remember refereeing their match. That's about it.
That was about it. And how about Hacksaw Jim Duggan?
Oh, yeah. Well, he flew with me a few times.
Really?
Yeah.
Was he nervous?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he was living in Louisiana somewhere. And I had to go out of my way. I took him home. I dropped him off at the airport where he lived in Louisiana.
Okay.
Well, I was in the 4x4, the match for Jim Duggan, myself. Remember that?
Actually, Bret Hart. I think Bret Hart was
Bret Hart, and the guy that died there.
Yep.
Jimmy.
I forgot who was the fourth guy.
Fernandez, wasn't it?
Hercules Hernandez. Yep.
Hernandez. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. But that's one of the big fours. Let's not dive into that. That was for Survivor Series. We're going to talk about that another time. Well, let's stick with. So now inside the ring we have Mr. Perfect versus Terry Taylor. He was known as the Red Rooster.
Yeah,
now,
Red Rooster.
Now you started laughing already. So let me ask you something. With the gimmick, do you feel like certain gimmicks was put on you as punishment, or they wanted to see if you could make it work? Like, what's your thoughts? What was your
If somebody would have called me a red rooster, I would have knocked him out. Jesus, a Red Rooster. I used to laugh, man. I said, God, Red Rooster. I don't know who came up with that.
Terry, well, you guys shared promotions before WWF at that time. Terry Taylor, he was a pretty good wrestler.
Oh yeah. He didn't need that. He
right.
Didn't need this. I mean, that was ridiculous. The Red Rooster. Yeah, I like Terry. He was a good guy.
I'm an agent now for the WWE right now. He's currently an agent right now. That's what he's doing.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Hey, how could you ever thought about becoming an agent?
No.
Well,
I didn't have time, man. I went into flying when I had a car lot. I was running a car lot, and I was busy. When I quit wrestling, I took 2 weeks to go hunting, and then after that, it was nothing but work. I had a business to run when I was on the road. I called, I had an 800 number, and I had to call 4 or 5 times a day, check on this, check on that, fly here, fly there. And I was busy, man. I didn't need to. I didn't have
Yeah.
time for any more of that.
Yeah. Once you was done, you was I understand. I definitely understand. But just say there's life after wrestling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, I flew cargo 13 years after. 13 years.
Wow, beautiful. Beautiful. Um, okay, so now the match that's in the ring is like I was saying, is the Red Rooster versus Mr. Perfect. Um, Mr. Perfect now he goes he goes behind him, I guess for a no, actually no, he goes for a perfect flex. That was his finisher move and beats the Red Rooster 1, 2, 3. What was your experience as far as with Kurt Hennig? Any stories as far as with Kurt Hennig?
Oh, I think I wrestled him one time.
One time,
I
right?
think that was it. One time. Oh, he's great. He's a good worker, man. Just, yeah.
Yep. Definitely, definitely. It was a shame how things ended up for him as far as his
He
ending.
didn't he OD on drugs or something?
Yep. Yep.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Oh, why would you do that? Jeez.
Yeah.
He had everything. He looked good. He was a hell of an athlete. You know,
Oh yeah. Him
I
and,
would have never believed he would do something like that. 'Cause he didn't look the type to me.
right.
Doing drugs.
Right. And now in the locker room doing the interview with me and Gene Oakland, your best friend in the whole wide world. This was your biggest friend, ravishing Rick Rude.
Oh, well, I've got a picture I'm going to show you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, why did I say that? Oh man. Wait, bring it up some. Oh shit. Wait, raise it up a little bit higher. I see his arm. Okay, I see. What the hell? You got him. Yeah. Listen, I have to ask you. Well, you've told the story before, but I wouldn't mind telling you. I wouldn't mind you telling the story again for those who missed the other episodes, who's catching this episode right here.
Uh-huh.
Let me ask you this question first before you tell the story. Um, was that legit? Was that a shoot right there? That
Oh, yeah.
moment, right? Was that a shoot?
Yeah. Yep.
I figured that. I figured that.
What the big arms he had didn't help him too much.
Flexibility, I know. Oh, yeah. Ay,
I could have hurt him bad, but I didn't. I just
And
I had him pretty tight. I let him know.
did that happen after the incident? That match after
Oh
the
yeah.
incident? Oh my!
I want to. If I would have been just him and he would have been there for a while. It's torture as hell, man.
Is that match available on YouTube?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Somebody give me those pictures. I never
Right.
even knew it existed.
I got,
I never
Okay.
even knew it existed.
so out of you and Andre, the picture that was gifted to you with you and Andre, and this picture, which one is the best picture of all times? Revenge is a dish that's well served cold. Okay, I guess you could. You've told the whole story before. I know we're doing the review for SummerSlam '89. If you want to bring up to Brisk the fans that's watching right now, this situation that happened between you and Rick Rude, a short version of it.
Sure.
Right.
Well, this happened in Atlanta, Georgia, and I was living in a hotel, and I had a suite, 2-room suite, and Ole Anderson was doing a booking, and Ole knew Rick Rude because he came from Minnesota. Well, I didn't know the guy, and me and Ole were very good friends. And Ole said, "I got a guy that needs a room stay for, a few days until he gets money and he can, get his own place."
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know Rick Rude. I had never seen him, never heard of him, and he was still green. He hadn't been wrestling very long. So I said, "I've done it for Ole." I said, "Sure." So I'll take him. So Ole took him to the hotel where I was, and I introduced him, and he seemed a pretty nice guy. So anyway, we went up to my room, and he had a couple of bags. So I said, "Well, you sleep in that room, and this is my room." And so the next day, I don't know if it was next. I think it was the next day. I just happened to be going to. I think I was going to Texas. One shot. Promoters that booked me, in Texas. So the lady that ran the hotel was a very good friend of mine. And anyway, we got up the next day, and I needed to go to the bank. Back then, I didn't use a whole lot of. I don't think I had credit cards. I needed some cash, so I got in my car, and I think I bought him breakfast. I'm not sure. Anyway, we went, and he was with me. I went to the bank, and I withdrew the money, and I did this outside the window. I had an account at the bank, so I got some money. Well, he saw the money, but I put it in my pocket. And we left, went back to the hotel, and decided it was a nice day to go to the pool.
Mhm.
But we went down to the pool. I spent a couple, 2 or 3 hours. There's some girls there, and I introduced him to the lady, that was running the hotel. I told her that's how I got a roommate for a couple of days. She didn't charge any extra because that was my suite. Well, we're by the pool, and so he says, I'm going to go. He says, get ready. Because I think he was wrestling that night or something, and I was going to go get ready to go to Texas. Well, he left before me, probably 5, 10 minutes before me.
Right.
He goes to my room, and I followed, like I say, 5, 10 minutes behind. And I think I got in the shower, packed my stuff, and I went to. Oh yeah, I had put my money in my boots, cowboy boots, and I put them right on the edge of the closet. Well, I come back, and then it's time for me to put my boots on and everything. I get in my boots. There's no money. And I said to him, I says, "Did you take my money, man?" And he got pissed right off the bat. "What do you mean?" He said, "I don't steal from me." He right away he gave himself up, as far as I'm concerned. And I said, "No, I'm just asking you." I said, I think it was $450, something like that. And you see me put it in my boots. And so he said, "Well, it could be the maid." I said, "Listen, I've been here I think I had been there 6 months already." I said, "I never missed a damn thing." And I says, "I used to leave all kinds of stuff. Never had anything missing." And anyway, I had to go call downstairs, and I told whatever her name was, I said, "You need to call the cops." I said, "I'll tell you, I'm coming down the stairs. Just call the cops, tell them to come here. It was a robbery." So I got finished getting dressed. I went downstairs, and I don't know about him. I forgot what it. Anyway, I went downstairs and I told. Can't remember her name. I told her. I said, "Listen," I says, "I got robbed," and I says, "I think I know where it is." I says, "I think it's my damn roommate."
Mhm.
And I says, "I hardly know him. I just met him yesterday." And I told her it was Rick Rude, And I said, "I want you to call the cops, and I want them to investigate that." And so anyway, I had to go, you know. And by the way, she took me after the cops got there. She talked to them. She took me to the airport. I got on the plane and I left. But the whole time I was on the plane, man, I was pissed. Oh, jeez. I was burning. I said, that sound bitchy. The more I thought about it, the more I said, he did it. He did it. There's nobody else. Well, I came back. I came back. That lady told me, here's the investigation, what they had written, says roommate needs soul searching. That's how it was written. Need soul searching. I said, well, I know that to myself. I knew it. And from then on, man, there was a lot of times I felt like just knocking him out. I didn't stay around. If he was in the dressing room, I walked out and went somewhere else. I just couldn't stand that son of a bitch, after I'd done all that shit to him. So about a week later, this girl comes to me and she says, we got talking. He was a big fan. She was nice. There was nothing going on with me or her, but she was at ringside a lot in Atlanta. She says, I met Rick Rude. She says, me and my girlfriend, she says, he took us out and she says, he bought some pot. And we partied. And I said, when was that? She says, about a week ago. And that was when I had left. He had went and bought some pot and partied. But I couldn't prove it. But, anyway.
And
Karma is a bitch. He's dead. I'm here.
there you go.
That's the way I look at the world. There's a reason. 43 years old, he's gone. He was gone. Usually you get what you deserve.
Yep.
I believe in karma. Very, 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 very
And
big.
$400. That was a lot of money back then. That was a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah. But it's the point. I never stole a penny of anybody. Never, ever, ever. And not even a dollar. I wouldn't do that. You don't do that. Especially if somebody's helping you. He never paid me to spend time there. He wasn't there long.
Right.
I told Ole about it, and Ole couldn't do nothing.
Unbelievable. Okay, so match in progress in the ring right now. We got a 6-man tag team. We got the Rockers, Marty Jannetty and the young Shawn Michaels, with Tito Santana versus the Rougeau brothers, Jacques and Raymond from the Rougeau brothers, and Rick Martel. Well, I know you have experience with the Rougeau brothers, but before we touch upon that, any stories with Rick Martel?
No, not really. I think I worked with him one time. I think it was like a babyface match.
Right.
We were both babyface.
Right.
Well, he's from Canada, but I left way before. He's much younger. I think.
Gotcha.
He's a good guy. He was good. He looked like I think I had a good match with him. We did a lot of wrestling.
Well, the Rougeaus and Rick Martel end up winning this match, as far as Rick Martel ends up pinning Marty Jannetty for the 1-2-3 count. Any stories? Well, I know you've had a recent story as far as with Jacques from the Rougeau brothers with the Academy. But any stories from back in the days you could share as far as with the Rougeau brothers, or did you ever witness the bullying with Dynamite Kid and Jacques?
No, I wasn't there when that happened.
Wasn't there
But
when that?
Jock knocked the shit out of him. I'll tell you. Well, he was a bully. Raymond had hurt his back. He's had a bad back, and I forgot he kind of shoved him or something. You know, what was his name? The Dynamite Kid.
Yep.
Yeah, I never heard anything good about him.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know the guy. I never was around him. I know one time Joe LeDuc was scared to death of him. Joe LeDuc, something happened between Dynamite Kid and him, and Dynamite Kid scared the shit out of him. I guess I don't know. I guess Joe LeDuc didn't want to fight him. But then I heard 2, 3 other stories, the shit that he done, bad stuff. Supposedly he was a prick. He was just a bad. I don't know. I never hung around him. I saw him a couple of times. I don't remember talking to him. But Rougeau, yeah, Jacques told Raymond. He says Raymond couldn't take care of him because he was hurt. His back was hurt. Jacques knocked him out, broke his jaw, whatever. Yeah, a roll of quarters. He had a roll of quarters.
Holy snap! Holy snap!
And that's again, karma.
I was about to.
Just,
His final days in this world wasn't good. He was wheelchair bound. He naturally lost all his teeth. He didn't have a good quality life at the end. Didn't
no,
at all. At all.
No, you can't live like that. You gotta. I don't.
Yeah, no,
I don't want to be preaching, but I try to live a better life than doing shit like that, taking advantage of people. And
any stories you could share about Marty Jannetty or Shawn Michaels?
Yeah, they were good guys. I think they flew with me too. Yeah, they flew with me. If I remember right, Shawn Michael was a hell of a worker, and so is Jannetty. But I think Jannetty was his own worst enemy. His own worst. I think he got fired or something, and I don't know the whole story, but
right. That was
yeah.
And with Tito Santana, anything with Tito Santana?
No. Never.
So now we're moving on back in the dressing room for SummerSlam '89, and hey, another favorite wrestler of yours, one of the greatest. He is the greatest technical wrestler of all times. Of all times, the Ultimate Warrior, your favorite. And look, two of your best friends, they're fighting together in SummerSlam. Ultimate Warrior versus Ravishing Rick Rude. Doesn't hey.
No, I don't think I spoke 2 words to Road Warrior. I mean to Warrior.
Warrior.
If I have, it might have been, hey, how you doing? To me, I looked at him, and there was something wrong with him. He didn't give a shit about anybody. He couldn't care less about your body. I could tell. He was a dangerous guy. He was very careless with your body. He didn't know how to do shit to start with.
Right.
He had these clotheslines, and he looked like a maniac, man, to take your head off. I'm surprised he didn't hurt anybody worse. He was. But you heard about Andre, huh?
Yep.
Andre took care of him. He was doing that to Andre. It was a little too stiff. Second one, he ran into this big hand.
Oh, man. He gave him a black eye. He cracked him. Real good. And then the time that happened, you see an Ultimate Warrior running. Ding, 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 ding. Oh man. And I'm looking the way he picked up Ravishing Rick Rude, and he just dumped him inside the ring. Threw him with no.
Oh, it was all about him.
Right.
all
Right.
about him. It was nothing, you know. I could tell. I never wrestled him because I would have took him down. He didn't know how to wrestle,
Right.
and I, I could have rolled him up. But once you got him on their back, you know, guys like that, man, they can't get up hardly.
No matter how big you are.
Oh, I wouldn't have hurt him, but I guarantee I would have made him look bad.
Nice. Well, those were the days. Like again, like I was mentioning with the gimmicks. Once you had that gimmick working for you, and I guess Ultimate Warrior was a good example of that. Once you had a particular gimmick, it put the rocket ship behind you.
it goes to the head, you know. Like you know, I saw what he thought. With Vance, you know. I mean, did Vance fire him or something?
Yeah, it was SummerSlam, as a matter of fact. Not this SummerSlam, but it was it was supposed to be Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior teaming up to go against Sergeant Slaughter, Iron Sheik, and General Agnon. It was the match made in heaven and the match made in hell. That's the same night Macho Man got married to Elizabeth. But right before Ultimate Warrior came out for that match, he held Vince McMahon and told Vince McMahon, like, listen, I'm not going to come out unless you pay me X, Y, and Z. So that's like holding a gun to the promoter.
Yeah.
So, and Vince did. Vince was like, all right. Vince paid him, and then right when he came back to the curtain, he fired him.
Yeah, I knew something had happened. I couldn't remember what it was, but yeah. Oh, he thought he was just invincible. You know, that he should be the top guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked great, but that was the end of it. You know, looking great and having all these muscles and stuff, it didn't help him a bit. You know,
right.
And shaking those ropes and doing all this crazy stuff. He didn't know anything about wrestling.
And the thing is, once he made it from the locker room to the ring, a lot of the wrestlers said he was already blown up. He was already tired.
Yeah. That's what I mean. He would have been easy to handle. Now, once you roll him on the back and
oh yeah. So we have Ultimate Warrior crisscrossing. He just finished picking up Rick Rude, dropped him, but backtracking a little bit. Roddy Piper interfered in that match, distracted Ravishing Rick Rude, ended up pulling up his kilt, and then exposed what does a Scottish man wear underneath his kilt? Absolutely nothing, and mooned him. So then Rick Rude got pissed.
Rick Rude got pissed. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he got pissed. Like, what the hell are you doing today?
Or nothing.
Yep. And by him being distracted, that's when Warrior actually gets him. He started doing his swiveling of the hips to Roddy Piper, and Roddy Piper was like, "Oh yeah, you want to shake your hips?" Like, and he just flipped his skirt, and then Rick was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And then that's when Warrior got him from the back, and then just gave him a, I guess it was a suplex. He just picked him up and threw him. He didn't even do a suplex. He could have broke Rick Rude's neck because he just grabbed Rick Rude and just grabbed him from the waist and said, and I'm like, what the freak? But yeah, he suplexed him and then did the running of the rope. Shoulder blocked him. I guess not shoulder blocked him, but he actually picked him up, slammed him, and then Rick Rude did that. Warrior did that splash thing move that he does when he pins you. He splashes on you and then he pins you 1, 2, 3, and that's how Warrior ends up winning. He actually beats Ravishing Rick Rude for the Intercontinental title in that particular match. So that's yeah, that match. I know that's the best match in the history of wrestling matches. It has two of your best friends involved. It's showing a view as far as they show Sean Mooney in the midst of the fans after that match. Listen, I know we've had our little jokes back and forth with the Ultimate Warrior, but the gimmicks, people really pop for the gimmicks. They really pop for the gimmick. As far as wrestling was important back then in the 80s, but if you was able to wrestle and had a gimmick, you was golden. But the gimmick, it's within itself, people really went crazy over the whole gimmick thing situation. The fans are actually going crazy for the Warrior. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but after you would have seen him for 6 months, it's the same shit.
Yep.
Same stuff. After you've seen somebody 10 times or 5 times, on longevity, stuff like that don't work. All of a sudden he was in. Yeah, that's why they put him in 6-man tag to cover up. Because him by himself, what is he going to do? 5 minutes and he's, so that's why a good booker, you try to use him, because at first it helps. He'll draw money because he's got such a body, and the people are, in awe, to look at him, and shaking the ropes, and, like a big gorilla. And he's an attraction. And attractions are only good for short term,
Right.
because you don't show you anything. He has no repertoire in wrestling. He don't have no holes. He don't have no and all that stuff. How long are you going to go with that? You get him in the territory, and he goes to the same town 4 times. And after that, they won't want to see him.
Right. Right.
They won't want to, because it's boring.
Which is true. They So now we have back in the locker room. Well, we just finished seeing. Well, Mr. Perfect was in the locker room as far as with Mean Gene discussing his win over the Red Rooster, and now we have Roddy Piper discussing what he just did as far as with Rick Rude with Mean Gene. So then he asked Mean Gene, what does a Scotsman have under his kilt? And then Mean Gene's like, what does he have? His shoes. Oh man, these Piper was some. Any stories you have with Piper, by any chance?
I never went around him. I just never, for some reason, I don't know.
Even in the other stories.
I don't even think I was in the same dressing room as him. Yeah. No, I didn't know him.
And now we have somebody looking as sharp as ever in the tuxedo. Have Mean Gene Oakland worried that you're not trying to take my job, are you? The one rugged Ronnie Garvin.
Listen. I didn't want to take his job.
I gotta show this.
Oh, wow. Oh wow.
I gotta show this. That's
that was the only time in my life I had a tuxedo on.
Bring down the screen. Oh, Bobby Heenan is pissed. Yeah, you even had a one-liner. I think you said you have fun dealing with these goofballs right here and something, because they came in, they was pissed. Hold on, let me see. Okay, I brought down the light a little bit. Hopefully, okay, now.
Wow.
Yep.
I look good with a tuxedo.
Yeah. There you go. Oh man, look, Bobby, you just said have a good time with these goofballs right here. Bobby Heenan is. So let me ask you. So wait, let me ask you something. Even with SummerSlam, did that situation happen? That already happened between you and Rick Rude when this situation happened right here in SummerSlam? Did that whole?
Oh yeah. Well,
so
as soon as Rick Rude came down south, he just been wrestling that long, Oh yeah, that was way before. Rick Rude, Rick Rude had been wrestling quite a while now. So that was in Georgia. That was in Georgia, and later on, that's when he was up in New York, and that's quite a few years later.
Okay. So that was so when you made that little one-liner, I didn't put up the audio for it. I wanted to save the audio part on when you're actually doing the announcement, the ring announcement, because I don't want us to possibly get the copyright situation because WWF is real funny with the copyright situation. So if I played the audio, I'm definitely going to play the audio for your part when you announced Greg the Hammer Valentine. But what you said as far as like, oh yeah, you deal with these, I think you said goofballs or something to that extent, have fun with these guys. You was you was really serious. You're like, yeah, I don't want to be around. Not, well, Bobby Heenan, that's one thing. But Rick Rude, I know you didn't want to be around him. But, oh man, that was something else. That was something else. Let me actually now where we at right now, we're actually I believe it's the 6-man tag team match right now. It's Demolition and Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus the Twin Towers, which consist of the Big Boss Man, Akeem, the African Dream, which was he also played the gimmick as the one-man gang. Also Andre the Giant. Now you shared stories about Andre the Giant. Do you have any stories about the Big Boss Man?
Oh yeah.
You have?
Yeah. I got Big Boss Man. What was he later on? He was before he was the boss man. He was something else. He was a bodyguard, wasn't he? Was that him?
I'll tell you right now.
Jim Cornette. He was wrestling as Big Bubba Rogers.
Yep. There's
Big
also. I'm gonna give you all his names right now. Okay. Ray Washington Taylor Jr., born May 2nd, 1963, passed away September 22nd, 2004, was an American professional wrestler, best known for his appearance with the World Wrestling Federation, known as the WWF, underneath the ring name Big Boss Man, as well as for his appearance with the World Championship Wrestling, known as the WCW, as the Boss Man, the Guardian Angel, and Big Bubba Rogers. So the Guardian Angel was probably that when he played that bodyguard role, maybe.
If you get a chance, what's his name? Ric Flair tells a story. It's funny as hell. I wrestled him in the Omni in Atlanta, Georgia, when he was Bubba Rogers. That would be 1980, I think, about 1980. And was a big guy. And we had a street fight match. I had boots and jeans on and taped my hands and anyway, a street fight,
Right.
No rules, Oh, we get in the ring, man, and I went right behind him. He's a big guy, real slow. I went behind him, and he had these suspenders, I go behind him, and I snatched him by the suspenders, man, and I yanked him, and he went over backwards in the ring on his ass. I jumped on him with both feet in the stomach. And he got up, and I hit him, and I potatoed him. I hit him pretty hard. I didn't mean to, but it was one of them. And anyway, he goes backwards. And anyway, I kept him in the ring quite a long time. We had a good match, actually. Because then I tried, what was it? There was a rope or something. I tried to rope his feet together, but he got out of that. And I blew him up. He was so out of breath, man. And he complained to Ric Flair.
Really?
Ric Flair, yeah, he complained to what I had done to him. He asked Ric Flair. He says, "Well, what can I do?" And Ric Flair, it's on a promo that Ric Flair done about me. That Big Bubba had complained about Ronnie Garvin, and Flair was laughing. He says, I can't do shit with him. Oh man, he said, and Flair says, "You're 3 times his damn size." He said, "What the hell?" never work with him again.
He complained that much in the office.
Well, he complained to Ric Flair.
To Ric Flair.
You know,
I got
he was asking Ric Flair, "What can I do? You know, what can I do?" Ric Flair said, "Well, goddamn, do the same thing he done to you. He's 3 times his size."
Give me 1 second. I'm listening to you. I'm just gonna grab the plug. Wow.
Uh,
Unbelievable. Okay, good. Just had to.
yeah, he complained. Oh, we had a good match. Shit, damn match won, but I get and what's his name was the manager. Same guy we talked about earlier.
Jim Cornette.
Jim Cornette. Yeah, Jim Cornette was the manager.
Oh wow. Hey,
Oh
man.
yeah.
Well, okay. The thing is with Big Boss Man, he was deceptionally fast. He was very fast. He know how to move for his size. He was one of the few big men. I give him credit.
Well, yeah,
Like-
but when he started, he didn't have this. When I saw him, he'd been in the business maybe 2 months, 2-3 months. You know.
Got you. That's okay. Okay.
Yeah, that was in Georgia, and that's where he's from. He was from Georgia. You know,
Mhm.
Big Boss Man later on, that was the WWF.
Right.
Big Boss Man.
Yeah. Was WWF. Yep, correct.
Yeah.
100%. So that's okay. So now the team of Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Demolition, they end up at Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Demolition, they end up beating the team of Big Boss Man, the Twin Towers, which is Big Boss Man, Akeem, and Andre. It was with a 2x4. The use of Hacksaw Jim Duggan 2x4. It was his name across the back. It was Akeem, I believe. Yeah, he hit Akeem in the back, and then he ended up winning the match 1-2-3. As far as he put Smash from Demolition on top of that Akeem, and then referee ended up pinning him 1-2-3. Who was speaking of referee, any referees you found very memorable? Like as far as
I couldn't name one.
besides yourself.
Really?
Anybody taught you about how to be a referee, or that's something that you just learned like as you went along?
Dude, I've been around so many of them. You know, nah, I didn't. I just knew what to say. I mean,
Got you.
Referee, a lot of them were good. A lot of them, I'd say half and half. Half
Right.
were so. They were okay to get by, but some didn't look the part. You know, but it shouldn't be hard to, you know. The least you interfere in a match, the better it is. I didn't like referees to interfere in my match. You know, I've had a referee one time. I can't remember where it was, telling me what to do. Well, yeah, a long time ago, and I just ignore him. I just I just ignore him. Yeah, I go tell him what to do. He's a referee.
Oh wow.
You know, good referee was Stu Schwartz. Stu Schwartz. He was in Florida a lot.
What did he work for?
Stu Schwartz.
What promotion did he work for?
It was in Florida. That would have been Eddie Graham's promotion. What was it? It was
Okay.
Then he refereed in North Carolina also.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Crockett promotion.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he was a good referee. He was the only referee that looked better than the boys.
Gotcha.
That's no kidding. You get in the ring, big old guys with bellies. You know, one time I was wrestling George Harris. George Harris. He 2-ton Harris, they call him. 2-ton Harris. Big old 5 fat guy.
Okay.
And I told Stu in the ring right in front of him, I says, you look better than the wrestlers. He did. He worked out. He had a good body.
Okay.
But he didn't wrestle. He should have.
Hey, listen, he was around you guys long enough. That would have, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, in the locker room right now, it's back in the locker room with Mean Gene Oakland, and who's being interviewed? We have the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, with his bodyguard Virgil. Any stories with the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase?
Yeah, I think I did. I had a match with him one time. I think it was in Georgia, I think. I can't remember that town. Columbus, Georgia.
Okay.
Columbus, Georgia. Right. I was messing with him. I used to mess with some guys, man. There was somehow the rope got in the ring. There was a rope somewhere. I think I went under the ring or something. But anyway, I found a piece of rope. When I came back and I was trying to tie him up, his legs, and I finally wrapped it around his neck and wrapped it around the post. I used to mess. Nah, he was a good. I like to work with him. He was good. Well, his dad was a wrestler, and he started early. You know.
Iron DiBiase,
Iron Mike DiBiase.
DiBiase, yep.
Mike DiBiase. Yeah, he died in the ring.
Oh, really? I never knew that. In the ring?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Wow.
Died in the ring. Iron Mike DiBiase.
Yep. Actually, okay, so now the next match is Hercules versus Greg the Hammer Valentine with special ring announcer. That's why I'm sorry, and anybody that's watching this part, they're probably wondering what's Lorenzine Heads doing down while Ron is talking. I'm actually searching feverishly for that part. I'm queuing up that segment. I was queuing it up while you were talking to get that. So let me because I'm trying to be specific with the audio here. Okay, let me see. Okay. Okay. Let me see.
So-called opponent. Well, this week, orange juice, manager, Big Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Here's a man. Here's a man who says he's from Seattle, Washington. He claims he weighs 249 pounds. To me, he looks like he's overweight by 30 pounds.
You're fucking absolutely right. After Valentine lost the match to Garvin, he challenged it career versus career match, and Valentine won it. And so Garvin's kind of kayfabe retired, but he's still wrestling on the show circuit. And he'd do like, oh, I'm the ref, or I'm the announcer, and I'm whatever shit. What he'd do is he'd have just altercations with whoever, and he'd end up getting into fisticuffs with them. And then Funny Jack Tunney goes away and say, oh, you're fired as an announcer, and rehired as a Valentine got annoyed enough to say, I want him back so I can fight him. But you know, you gotta wait for that big payoff. I have to say that I thought that his burial of Valentine was all right, but it's better than
I think. Yeah, they was talking over that. I want to find the audio where it's the complete. I was trying to look for it on YouTube, but I actually have the DVD of that whole event and stuff like that. I'll get it queued up one of these days, and then we'll play it through on one of the segments. Uninterrupted. But yeah, that was oh man, that's oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. That was that was the highlight. That was the highlight for me right there. So what was okay? So all right, the Men in the Ring. Well, we know your history with Greg Valentine. Any history that you've had with as far as with Hercules?
No.
No.
I never worked with him.
No.
No.
They was able. I don't know. I kind of want to say they missed the ball with Hercules. They could have done maybe a little bit more with him, but then again,
No, I never worked with him. I just never. I was around him a little bit, but
Gotcha. All right. That match, it was Hercules, Greg Valentine who actually won that match. But they was doing commentary over that. So again, one of these days I'm gonna actually play that part, and then you'll be able to hear everything and see everything as far as for that uninterrupted. But yeah, Valentine ended up winning that match against Hercules, and now we have Sherry being interviewed by Mean Gene Oakland with Macho Man Randy Savage and Zeus. How was Zeus like in the locker room? Like, I know you only shared probably one time with him. Was he another Ultimate Warrior? Was he like?
he was more. He was not a great worker, but he was not. He was a good. He seems like a good guy. He wasn't cocky and just just very humble guy.
More respect for the business than the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's I was always curious about that. Like, and any stories with Sensational Sherry?
No.
So now they just in the back talking. She has her whole sorcery stuff, and now the $1 Million Man is in the ring, and he's getting ready to wrestle Jimmy Superfly Snuka. What about Snuka? Ever had any time with Jimmy Snuka?
No, I talked a little bit with him, but I never worked with him. But he was a good worker. I liked him.
Did you? I think we spoke about that, your thoughts about the whole incident that happened with Jimmy Superfly Snuka and his girlfriend at that time.
No.
That was.
What happened?
No, he supposedly allegedly he ended up killing his girlfriend, and then they said.
I heard about that. Yeah, I heard about that.
Allegedly, yeah.
But they were trying to investigate him, weren't they?
Right, but by the time they brought him into court,
he died, didn't he?
And he was suffering from dementia, so he was unable to. Yeah. That's oh boy. But yeah, so as far as with that match, we've had the $1 Million Man. He actually beats Jimmy Superfly Snuka, which actually leads us to our main event, the main Madeira, which is the Macho Man Randy Savage and Zeus versus Hulk Hogan and Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Again, what's your thoughts about Brutus the Barber Beefcake being in that main event spot? Did you feel like he only got that main event spot because he was a good friend of Hulk Hogan, or do you feel like he deserved it?
I don't think it was a good match.
It was more. Is it safe to say it was a gimmick? It was a good gimmick match. That's what it was, kind of, because you had the movie, the guy from the No Holds Barred movie, Zeus, because they had it. They had a a feud in the movie. So now they try to bring that movie into the real world and stuff like that. So it was more like a gimmick thing that transferred over, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. And then now you have Hulk Hogan coming in there. Hulk Hogan had to actually probably work overtime to keep everything together, to give that Hulk Hogan and Macho Man, they pretty much held it down for themselves because they was the legitimate guys.
They did all the work.
They did all the work. Yeah. You would hate to throw Beefcake in the same category with Zeus, but I mean, Beefcake.
I don't know. I never saw Zeus work. I don't remember.
Yeah, he only did that. He only did this situation. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. That was it. So, and pretty much, yeah, that's why I was saying I would hate to categorize the Brutus the Barber Beefcake with Zeus. So then at the end, what do we have? We have, I believe, Elizabeth. Sherry ends up going on the top, trying to distract them. And then we have Elizabeth who flips over Sensational Sherry. And let me see. I'm just skimming it through a little bit. Forgive me. Let's see. Okay, yeah, Sherry and Elizabeth ends up going at it a little bit. And then there's a part that Sherry goes on the top rope. And then Elizabeth flips her over. How was Elizabeth? Did you ever have any dealings as far as like, not working with Elizabeth, but do you have any stories about Elizabeth? They said Macho Man was very jealous when it came down to Elizabeth.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
She was in the office when I was there. She'd come to the office. You know, when I was partners with all the Poffos.
Right.
Yeah, that's when he met her.
Okay. So then here it is. He flips over. Now we have Zeus and Hogan inside the ring. Hogan after Sherry gets flipped inside the ring, she drops her purse. Hogan grabs the purse because the purse had a brick or it was loaded in there. And then ends up hitting Zeus with the purse, and then Zeus is stunned. Now Hogan picks up Zeus, body slams him, position his arm in the center of the ring to drop that leg, and the 1, 2, 3 count, and Sherry jumps in there and tries to hit Hogan with a purse, with the same purse, and then she gets caught in the act, and now they cornering Sensational Sherry as far as in the ring, and Sherry is like begging off, and then Beefcake is coming in the ring, pulls out his clippers, and it's amazing. Sherry normally didn't have long hair. For this match, she grew hair out of nowhere, and it so happened the same hair that she grew.
The wig.
Yeah, that's the same hair that they end up cutting off. It's like, oh yeah. Make things more obvious. They give Sherry the atomic drop, and she ends up into Miss Elizabeth, and then Miss Elizabeth, I believe, ends up slapping her. Let's see, right there. Yep, she ends up slapping her. So that was Miss Elizabeth involvement inside that squared circle, and then Sherry, and then now they're getting ready to cut her hair, and then the celebration happens with the posing and all the extracurricular activity between those two. But as far as the pay, so now let me ask you the payoffs. How was the payoffs like as far as for SummerSlam, for big pay-per-view events versus your average events for working with Vince?
A whole lot more pay-per-view, yeah. Because on the other events, you get paid by what's in the house. You know,
Right.
That's why it's such a big difference today. You know, in wrestling, we didn't have pay-per-view. We got paid on what was in the crowd, in the building. I mean, the attendance.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when I won the world title in Michigan. There was 100,000 the gate. 100,000. That was big back then. 100,000. Not people. I'm talking about money.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, that's considered still be bigger during these times.
Yeah, but the pay-per-view, that's how you can have a good year because you don't have pay-per-view every day. But if you got 3 or 4 or 5 pay-per-view a year, I know that was the most money I made when I was there because I was, I don't know how many pay-per-views, not a whole lot of them, but 3 or 4. I don't know. I can't remember. And the payoffs were unbelievable compared to, without the pay-per-view.
Right.
I can imagine today, what is it, 40, 50, 60 bucks to look at pay-per-view?
Yeah, the pay-per-views, yeah, like around that range. Yeah, 60, 70.
Yeah.
But now, if you have Peacock, if you have the network called Peacock, you actually see all those pay-per-view for free. You don't have to order it. But I guess now WWE makes their money off of commercials and stuff like that's how they make it.
Your pay-per-view goes all over the world too.
Right.
Out there in China, they're everywhere.
Yep.
That's all revenue.
100%.
So you got one source of revenue versus unlimited. Who knows? It goes to Greece, it goes to wherever, New Zealand, and I mean millions and millions of people see it. Compared to back then, if you had 60,000 people or 50,000 people,
which is true. So this has been the coverage for SummerSlam 1989. Did you have fun, Ron?
SummerSlam.
Yeah, bringing up, stir up some old memories that you kind of forgot about. Oh man. Well, listen. Hope you guys had fun. Like always.
Yeah, we did.
Just hang loose a little bit. We'll be signing off with the fans, but I don't want you to hang up as of yet. But ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed. This has been another Rugged Ronnie Garvin story from the road to the ring. I was your co-host, Lorenz Dean, and this is the star of Stories from the Road to the Ring, Ron Garvin, the rugged one, signing off.